Hey guys, welcome to the Marstar channel. My name is Payam. Today we're taking a look at red dots and green dots and talking about them and how to use them and all the good stuff that comes along with it. Now, before we get too far into it, know that I am not, the absolute holder of knowledge when it comes to these things. I know a fair bit. I know how to use them. I've used them a lot in the past, but, do your own research. Don't just rely on my word because I'd hate to misguide you by accident. Now, with dots, you get red and green. The green ones typically are more expensive. They have more coatings on the lens to make the green sort of pop out a little better. The red ones are a little cheaper. The green one, you have the added benefit of the human eye being better at picking up green than red, so you can operate at a lower battery output and last a little bit longer. Dots have all kinds of configurations. You have multi-reticle options with hollow sun. You have a solar panel on many of them. An auto off is an option as well, or a shake awake. These are all things that are going to be specific to the dot you might be getting, and you should pay attention to them and see if any of these options are right for you. And, they make basically one of these for just about any application you could need. So, really on that front, we're going to focus on what is actually common between them. Now, when it comes to dot sights, they are effectively zero parallax. So wherever you are looking at, where you see the dot is what you're going to hit once you're sighted in. So effectively, you can have a not perfect cheek weld, or you can have the optic very far forward. It really will make no difference. You can have the eye box right up to you. You can have the lens right at your eye if you want and shoot like that. Really, the world's your oyster. But if you're looking to get most out of an optic like this, what you want to do is you want to mount it as far forward on your gun as you can. This gives you a couple benefits. The first of which is better peripheral vision. The scope is taking up less of what you can actually see with your left eye or your right eye, your off eye, that you're not in use. With the optic, at least, you should still be using it to see your peripheral, and that's what I'm getting at. And the added benefit of when you're further away, the body of the optic becomes smaller. So you can actually, it kind of meshes into the world that you see a little better. It almost becomes invisible in a way. Alright, what are these dots good for? Well, they're great for high-speed situations. So if you're doing like 3-gun, and you're engaging multiple targets and you're trying to get a round or two off on each from different awkward positions, or popping out from behind a barricade that you're using as a target or a stand or something. As I said, you don't need to have a perfect cheek weld to get decent accuracy with these things. What you see is what you get, i.e. the green dot is what you hit. If you have a astigmatism or poor eyesight, there's no method to correct that in the optic. So, you'll have a blurry, blown out dot that's less accurate. You might need to operate at a higher output to see it as clearly or pick it up as fast. These things are crisp. The camera doesn't show it here because it's not the best camera in the world. But when you are actually using these things in person, they should be crisp and clear. And 90% of the time, when I get a guy saying, my optic is blown out, the dot is blown out, typically we find that it is actually a stigmatism the customer didn't even know they had. I've seen it before. I've also seen them have issues where the dot was blown out, but most of the time, if you have an eye problem, or even if you don't know you have an eye problem, that's typically when you see these things having problems. So we're going to go to the range. We're going to block off the front sight completely, so all you can see is a dot like this, and we're going to put some rounds on target and show that you don't actually need to be able to see through the sight to be able to hit your target. And that is where the left eye or your off eye, or your whichever eye, your non-dominant eye, comes into play. And we're going to see how it does. Alright, so we're at the range. I got my X95 Tavor, the AMS red dot or green dot rather, from Holosun, and I run my gun with a Streamlight ProTac rail on it. We're going to load up and shoot. I've got on the front of my gun, I'm not sure if you can see it, I'm trying to maintain muzzle discipline here, I've got a white piece of tape blocking the optic completely. So we're going to see how we shoot with the optic completely blocked, try and employ red dots using our eyes the correct way. I got a few hits there. Now I'm going to uncover the optic and see if it makes any difference to how I'm shooting and how accurate I am. All right, we're loaded up again. I'm going to uncover my optic so I can see through it properly. Let's load up and see if I do any better. All right, so what have we learned? Well, I'm a horrible shot regardless of if I can see through my optic or not. All jokes aside, it didn't make a particular difference being able to see through my optic or not because I had my left eye open. Your brain sort of meshes the two images together and you can still be relatively accurate with it. It is something I like to do a couple times a year, usually towards the start of the year, just to get my body back into the habit of, looking and using both eyes for shooting. It's something I recommend you do as well. During the winter, I tend to not use guns like this. I tend to go for bolt actions just because I don't like to play with, the oil and pouring it with reliability and stuff like that. So I'll tend to go for more manual action guns. So they don't typically, for me, run a red dot for that. I tend to go for prisms, which we'll be covering probably next week. But yeah, it's good to get out and shoot. These guns are great. If you're interested in the optics, we have them on our site. I'll link them below. But thanks for watching and have a great day.